We just started doing that, actually. It was, you know, at certain development ages, you have to watch for signs of them properly, developing, properly learning things. And we got to like 35 weeks and they said start watching for cues of like him recognizing you and sounds and stuff like that, and he'll smile. And I said, we can actually recognize that at this point, because technically he's supposed to be inside me still. And they're like, yeah, he'll start smiling and he'll focus on you. He can actually see at this point. And I'm like, well, that's exciting. And he can recognize me.
Right.
So.
Developing outside the body. So how premature was he?
He was 23 weeks and 5 days. So I was barely over halfway. You
Wow.
wouldn't have guessed that I was pregnant at all. Labor and delivery, I had several nurses from St. Vincent's ask me, are you sure you're pregnant? You don't look pregnant at all. And I'm like, yes, I'm positive that I'm pregnant. That is why I'm here. They kept me in good spirits though the whole time. I was on bed rest for 5 days down there, but I had quite an eventful journey up here before they finally transferred me. I was in and out of the ER pretty much since I found out that I was pregnant, and I had complications the entire time. They couldn't explain them towards the end though. I still don't know why I had him early, and they can't tell me if I had him early because of anything specific, if it was just my body's hormones, but all the tests they did say that there was nothing wrong. They couldn't find anything, and they can't tell me that if I have another baby it'll happen again. It's kind of a toss-up. So for now, Maverick is our only focus.
What a great name, Maverick.
It's a strong name. The doctor actually asked us if we came up with a name from Top Gun, because the lead character's name was Maverick. But no, it actually just came to mind. We didn't have a name picked out. We hadn't even gotten there yet in our planning because we hadn't developed that much of. We were still
trying
in the
to guess
phase
with a
of
boy or a girl, and now
we had just found out it was a boy. So from there on out, we were pretty much coming up with name ideas for strictly boys. We still hadn't settled on one. We were trying to come up with a room theme, everything like that, to try and get everything settled. And I was hospitalized, so we couldn't even start that. So between me going back and forth to Green Bay, I've been trying to get his room situated. And I had people ask me the other day, what does his room look like? And I said, well, it's kind of a mess right now. Like, everything's a little bit of everywhere. I'm like, but when he comes home, it'll all fall into place. So, which hopefully will be in the next month. His due date was January 22nd. So I said, hopefully by February.
Hopefully by the technical due date, everything should be about right with
as long as he's doing well, as long as he's taking full bottles and he recovers from his hernia surgery, because he does have 2 hernias, he should be able to come home with oxygen. So we'll see where he's at. They tried him on a new thing today. They just got off the phone with me in the car. He's on a very low flow, what's called 1 liter of oxygen. So we're going to see how that goes today.
Trying to decrease him off of oxygen a little bit at a time and see where it came from.
Essentially, so like in the beginning, and he was, I use the analogy, he was the size of a Barbie doll. He was 1 pound 5.9 ounces, and the exact size and length of a little Barbie doll. So lots of people didn't recognize how small he was until we put our hand next to him and took a photo of it, because you could fit him in your hand.
Now I'll have to go back on the Facebook page and look back and see if those are there.
They didn't, it's just something that you don't fathom to see. You never picture a baby outside of the womb that young. There are ones that have survived smaller. From St. Vincent's, it's a wonderful hospital. But he's one of the youngest and smallest for his gestation. But he was intubated and having all sorts of complications. We found out he had a grade 3 and grade 4 brain bleed in the first week or 2 of him being there. We don't know if that happened during delivery or before. And good news for that is they quit checking ultrasounds on that because it's resolving. So hopefully he's growing new brain pathways and absorbing that blood the way he should. We're developmentally wise, the way he's acting and behaving, he might be set back, but he's not showing any signs of anything else thus far.
In your eyes, he'll never be set back.
No.
No matter what disability or anything he might face in the future,
he's not set back. He's where he's supposed to be.
Exactly.
he's come so far, and I tell people all the time that you sit there and whine about pinpricks and getting your blood drawn and this and that, and he's gone through that times 10, and he doesn't even know what it's all about.
Right now, home is hospital.
To him, it's all normal. He doesn't know anything. Yeah. He doesn't know anything different. So he was intubated, and he was on a very high flow of oxygen straight into his lungs for the first month of his life. They were also thinking that he had had what's called esophageal atresia, and that would have required him having 2 different surgeries. One to get a feeding tube put directly into his stomach, external, and another one once he was 2.5 pounds to correct his esophagus. They thought, anyways, that his esophagus was connected to his trachea at the top, and then it came out of the bottom and connected to his stomach. So it was kind of like a C shape. And the concern with that is he can't eat food because it's going into his trachea, into his lungs. It might not even make it to the stomach, right, and it'll choke him. So they had a drain tube put in to suck any fluid that might build up out, to keep it out of his lungs. When he contracted pneumonia, they switched it all over, and he was on a very, I say unpleasant, but it's a very high velocity ventilator called an oscillatory vent, and it like vibrates his lungs open. They never get to close fully. And when they did that, the tube went down farther, and they kind of freaked out, and they called me and they said they're redoing a contrast study to see what's going on. And they did, and his esophagus opened up. Like he just needed more time to grow. So they got a feeding tube down. So for almost the first month of his life, though, he wasn't getting any nutrition other than IV. And there was a very poor outlook. They didn't know if he would ever get to 2.5 pounds with just IV nutrition. After they found the feeding tube could go down, it was like a whole wave went over the doctors, and they viewed him completely viable. And without him having to have them surgeries, he was 100% savable in their eyes, because they really doubted him in the beginning. They didn't know if he didn't tolerate the surgeries he needed to live. But after that, he hit that 2-pound mark, and he hasn't stopped. Yeah, he hasn't stopped growing since, which is very good. And now he's in an open crib, and he's on one of the lowest forms of oxygen that you can have. Hopefully he stays there, doesn't go back up, but we'll see. He takes bottles, not fully yet, but he's getting there. He's learning.
I just saw Dad was able to hold him for the first time.
Yeah. One of the first things he said to me when we went on, he goes, "You've been able to hold him this whole time?" And I said, "Yeah, they want him to bond with Mom, because I didn't get to hold him after birth. I didn't hold him for the first month and a half of his life. I couldn't take him out of his Asselin." And he's like, "I know, I get it, but what about me?" And I said, "Well, I'll ask them today. I'm sure they won't care at this stage. I'm sure they understand." So he held him, and he cried. He's like, "It's the first time I can hold my son." He's like, I never pictured I'd be able to, because in that Asselin, you just can't do what you normally would. You can't take them out and bathe them and feed them and change them. Yeah, and you feel kind of helpless too, because they're inside there, and you can't comfort them. You can't do the things you would as a parent.
Now I see you guys go back and forth. Is that daily? You go to Green Bay?
I go back and forth daily. I'm not going today, but I'll be back down tomorrow. I can call anytime, I can go anytime. It could be the middle of the night, 2 a.m., doesn't matter. I can go in anytime I want, but
so is it sure you can sleep in maybe, or are you allowed to spend the night with the baby? Or?
Yeah, I could stay there if I wanted to, right next to him, but it's hard for me. I have 3 dogs at home, and they were my babies before Maverick, so it's a losing situation, whether I'm home and I'm away from Maverick, or I'm there and I'm away from my dogs, and my husband.
Right.
He counts too. But we do our best. We go back and forth. Casey works all week long, and then he goes down on weekends with me. His auntie lives pretty close, so if need be, like when the weather gets crappy, we stay down there at her house. She's only about a half hour farther, so we have that to rely on. But it's been really, really hard, because I wasn't able to work since July. They had me on very light duty. I could barely even, they yelled at me for even trying to take my dogs outside and walk them. But they didn't deem me viable in Dickinson until 24 weeks. So they wouldn't put me on bed rest until I would hit 24 weeks. And I went into the ER probably 7 or 8 times in the weeks prior to having Maverick. And all the different doctors there couldn't tell me what was going on or what I could do or how to help or anything. They just kept saying, if it gets worse, come back. And I kept saying, well, at what point is it worse?
Right, I'm back.
Like, I keep coming in, it's not stopping. Like, I was bleeding profusely and I just wouldn't stop. And I finally, my OBGYN, who's very well known in the area, but he said, go to the ER now. I can't have you bleeding out. Can't have you risking your life just because, go to the ER. And I said, well, can I go to Green Bay? And he said, well, if you can make it to Green Bay, make it to Green Bay. He's like, but I need you in a hospital. So I was just over 20 weeks, and I got down to Green Bay, and they put me right up in labor and delivery, and saw that I had a hematoma, and my placenta was low, and this could explain the bleeding, but not all of it. They said at no point should I be bleeding out to where I need a transfusion. And so they told me complete bed rest. I had to make it to 23 weeks for Green Bay to make me viable to save the baby. So I did nothing for a while, and I could get the blood to stop. It was very difficult, and then I woke up, I was exactly 23 weeks, and I couldn't do it anymore. I passed out on my floor. My mom came to get me and got me to Dickinson. My OBGYN came down, canceled all of his appointments for the afternoon, got me stable, got me to Green Bay. 3 blood transfusions later, magnesium and all that fun stuff, everything had stopped. But then my water broke 3 days later, or 2 days later. And 2 days after that, Maverick decided he was coming early. I wasn't even able, they were in there getting me to sign paperwork to say when he comes, what to do and what to expect and all that stuff. And I went into labor while she's trying to talk to me.
Everybody expected the worst, I'm sure. That.
Yeah. At one point they said it was me or Maverick, and then at another point they said neither of us might make it out of it the way I was losing blood and having complications. But now we're both here. As soon as I had Maverick, my complications stopped. I didn't have any hormone imbalances. My blood was just fine. My hemoglobin, everything, my levels were perfect. I stopped bleeding. Didn't have any pains. I was good to go as soon as he came. So we don't know why or what my body was thinking.
I was just gonna the only thing I think in everything you just said is your body rejected it. Your body said, "Oh my, I don't know what's in there, but we need to get it out right now," and that's
that's kind of how I viewed it. My body just didn't want him in there, or he didn't want to be in there. But
Maverick, the miracle baby.
He is. Just watching him too, he shouldn't be here, and he is. So I'm extremely thankful for that. But for Casey and I he's been supporting us as much as he can, and it's hard.
Yeah, well, I understand. Like I said, when I put that contest, when I put that on there, cause I honestly I didn't want to make the deciding factor of who gets money, because that's not up for me. I was killed on Christmas. I didn't know what to do, so I threw that out there, and I was like, nominate somebody, and I thought that pause for Claw, whatever that in Norway, I thought they had it for sure, and then all of a sudden yours popped up, and I'm like, well, who is this lady? And I kind of heard something before, and all of a sudden it went up, and I watched it go up, and I'm like, okay, well, they're getting $100 for sure, because at that point it was already decided on me, my wife, and I thought, okay, let's have some fun. If they can get the 300 likes, yeah, right, I'll double it. I was no doubt that was going to happen. So
we have lots and lots of support, and it's quite amazing.
Not that I'm holding her hostage for a video recording, but there's $200. I really hope that I can help for gas or whatever.
It'll actually go towards our mortgage this month, because with the holidays and the way things have fallen, my husband doesn't get paid until like the following week of our mortgage being due. So but this really tremendously helps us. It does. I was just telling my
Yes.
husband the other day, I didn't know how we were going to pay the mortgage this month because of everything. And they estimate Maverick, and I'm hoping insurance will help us with that, but they estimate Maverick to be like over $2 million, his medical costs, so it's going to be...
It's going to be a difficult road to travel the next few years, and
I just hope...
going to depend on a lot of friends and family for support and help.
Yep.
And
Yeah, we have had tremendous amount of support. My main goal with sharing his page wasn't mainly for us, it was, I hope that Dickinson County expands their technology and their education so that they can help people like me. Because in order for me to get help, I had to go an hour and a half north or an hour and a half south.
How
Either
the
way.
hospital did you went to, is that related with Bellin anyway? Because I think you probably saw Bellin just acquired the hospital, or they are acquiring the hospital.
I'm hoping, yes, the St. Vincent's is linked with Bellin down there, so I'm hoping that with Bellin taking over our hospital, it really does some good for them, at least education-wise, because to have the knowledge to help somebody like me, I probably wouldn't have been put in the situation I was in, getting told that we don't know what's wrong, we don't know what's wrong. If they would have at least been able to explain to me what was wrong, then maybe something could have been done to prevent it, or at least keep him in longer, but I just kept getting no answers.
And that was my interview with Kara, and unfortunately, as you just saw, my video did die. I hope I got everything on there, and I hope that you, my fans, my subscribers, can help her out, help her family out. She drives 100 miles every single day, each direction, from Iron Mountain to Green Bay and back. As you heard, she's using a family member's car because their own doesn't even work. So I don't know what you can do for her family, but I hope you can do something. Again, just by sharing this video and getting her message out there can help her in the long run. And please check out the Facebook page, Pray for Maverick. I will include a link down below. And just help her out in the best way you possibly can, whether it's praying, financial support, or just typing a message when they need it the most. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.